It is strictly forbidden in the courts for a judge to give legal advice to a party from the bench. Judicial Canon 4 for federal judges reads, "A judge should not practice law." That means a judge should not give legal advice. Or how about when we asked Google? It answered, no, a judge in federal court cannot give legal advice to a party in a case before them. It is considered a serious ethical violation as judges must remain neutral and impartial, meaning they cannot provide guidance that could favor one side over the other. But oh, what is this? It looks as though the Honorable Judge Cousins is giving some advice. Here he is, guiding my opponents to a particular Rule 41B if I fail to prosecute or to comply with the rules of a court order, so they can get my entire case thrown out. And the court order he's referring to is when I refuse to disclose any records to any of the defendants because they were all submitted to me by a trespassing attorney. And he was a trespasser because I, not Cousins clerk, not the chief judge of that court, nobody but a snot-nosed pro se litigant caught that attorney practicing law outside jurisdiction for the entirety of my case. Meaning, he did not have the authority to attach a paperclip to Buccola versus Boucher, never mind compel me to disclose my journal entries to the interloper that tried to replace him. In fact, in this judge's own order, when he finally took action because I would not shut up about it, he referred that attorney over to the Standards Committee on Professional Conduct and wrote, "All parties, including Redford, agree that Redford violated the local rules by continuously appearing on behalf of defendants in this matter from around July 22, 2022 to February 27, 2024. Even though he was not admitted to practice in the Northern District, Local Rule 11-1A required Redford to become a member of the bar of this court to practice in this court." Oh, yoo-hoo, Judge Cousins, these are your own words. If that attorney violated the rules and wasn't admitted to practice in your court, then he wasn't admitted to submit any requests to me for records. Why are you contradicting your own words, oh Honorable Judge Cousins? Oh, yoo-hoo! Then, what is this? My opponents take his advice and file the document because I refuse to submit any of those records, and then the defendants invoke Rule 41 so they could get my case thrown out. In fact, later in that same document, the defendants even specifically invoke the rule my impartial referee invites them to invoke until my impartial referee gives them the win and enters judgment against me according to the rule he helped my opponents to become aware of if they weren't already. Nothing like having an honorable judge show your opponents how to defeat you, and after they take his advice, achieve victory due to the advice the impartial referee gave them. It makes me think of, of something similar to the ref jumping in the octagon at this point in the fight, dragging Nate Diaz off Connor, handing Connor some brass knuckles, and then declaring victory for Connor. But that's exactly what happened in Buccola versus Boucher. I had all the defendants in a lawful rear naked choke, particularly in figuring out that all 6 of the defendants had hired an attorney practicing law outside jurisdiction for the entirety of my case, until the Honorable Judge Cousins, with the assistance of the Honorable Judge Casey Pitts and the blind eye by the captain of the court, Judge Richard Seaborg, dragged the defendants out from underneath me and handed them a set of brass knuckles in the form of Rule 41B and then a trophy in the form of a judgment. Except I guess there's one big difference. Those fights happen on live TV, and the impartial refs of the Northern District thought they could give out those trophies in the shadows forever. Well, you awarded a trophy to losers, Your Honors. Losers that got hard-ons from attacking their own bosses for taking walks with their dogs in the oceans. And the only way they could have gotten that trophy was because the illustrious judges in the Northern District Court cheated.
There's lots of psychological studies about what people do to cheaters in games. And people are so motivated to punish cheaters that they'll give up some of their own privileges for the right to do so. If you let the cheaters get away with it, they dominate and take everything. That's why it even exists biologically, is because you can get somewhere with exploitation. And you particularly get somewhere with exploitation if the people you are exploiting don't object. And so you actually have a moral obligation to object. To not let people get away with breaking the rules.
I find it very interesting that Peterson used the word object when talking about cheaters, because that's all I've been doing for the past year is objecting and objecting and objecting and objecting. And yet the Northern District Court kept breaking their own code of conduct and violating their own rules. I mean, you'd expect this level of cheating on the playground in elementary school or at an illegal dogfight, but not in a federal court with those that have sworn to protect our rights. And this is from the commentary under Canon number 1. Deference to the judgments and rulings of courts depend on public confidence in the integrity and independence of judges. Adherence to this responsibility helps to maintain public confidence in the impartiality of the judiciary. The canons are rules of reason. So, I don't know. Maybe the people could weigh in. Does a judge giving legal advice from the bench to those in the big club in order to lay the groundwork for an ill-gotten win to a bunch of losers maintain confidence in the judiciary? I would really hate for the Northern District Court's image of impartiality and integrity to be shattered in the eyes of the people they serve. Here's an idea, those in the untouchable ivory towers. Why don't you forthwith realign your moral compass to your judicial canons and your country, and remember who's boss around here. If that is too shocking to your conscience, then it's time for you to resign, because the bosses no longer need your cheating services.